A few days ago, I saw a clip on Twitter of a fella zipping around on a certain area of Stellamontis showing off an awesome loot farm with the title, How to Get 100k in 3 minutes on Arc Raiders. Today we're going to really quickly talk about that farm and specifically some of the mistakes I've heard and seen people make when attempting to do that loot farm. And because you're not guaranteed to spawn in at that exact location every time, why don't we talk real quick about what else you can do to make a lot of money quickly in Arc Raiders on Stellamontis. And by the way, the fella who posted that clip was Modern Warzone. Go give him a follow. Seems like a good player. Anyway, the farming route in question is in the assembly workshop area of Stellamontis, way up at the top left end of the map. If you find yourself there, your game plan should be to run around and check 4 different areas, 2 upstairs areas and 2 downstairs areas that are right next to each other, looting only the following containers: any large white tool cabinet with drawers, any large yellow tool cabinet with drawers, any small rectangular container with a blue door, any desk drawers you might find in the upstairs area, and finally the breachable panel on the giant machine at the end of the area. And just to be specific, you can start off around right here, then head over to the first downstairs area looking for any cabinets outside the door. After looting those, you can check the entire downstairs area I'm showing you right here, these 2 rooms. Then you can turn around and head up the staircase and then check this entire upstairs room right here. Then you can head out to the balcony and go ahead and jump over the railing. And now you want to look for more cabinets with drawers in this open area here. Then when you're done with that, head indoors to the second downstairs indoors area, which is kind of these 2 rooms down here. Then head back out and up the nearby staircase, then head into the final upstairs area, which is this entire room up here. And then finally head back out and jump over 1 more railing to breach this panel on the back of this large machine here. And then when you're done with that, just walk over a few more feet right to the Raider hatch. Those containers all have a really high chance of containing pink level gear that you can sell for a lot of money, and the occasional blueprint. Although to be fair, Stellamontis has a lot of blueprints in general. You might notice there are large servers in the area as well that you can breach into and loot, and mistake number 1 that I see people making when doing this farm is breaching those servers. At least breaching them right away. The reason that looting those servers right away is a mistake is because doing so wastes time. Servers take time to breach into, and while you could check them during your farm to get more loot, you're kind of just increasing the odds that some other dude is going to show up in the area and take the loot that could have been yours if you were faster. So I recommend either not breaching open the servers, especially if there are other players nearby and you're worried they might shoot you or take loot before you. If you're confident you're alone though, maybe save them for last, just to make sure you've looted all the other higher value containers first. And by the way, on the topic of time, in his original clip, Modern Warzone uses the snap hook to zip around to do the farm a little bit faster. Now don't get me wrong, I don't consider that a mistake, but I personally would never run that route with a snap hook for the sole reason that if another raider walked by and saw me using the snap hook, I figure there'd probably be like a 95% chance they would try to use their stitcher to give me a lead enema and take it off my body. Besides, the looting area isn't really that large, so I don't really think you need the snap hook to shave off a few seconds off the route, but you do you. Anyway, mistake number 2 when doing the farm, thinking you need to do it during a night raid. You don't. But I can see why people would make that mistake, because night raids have a good chance at you finding higher quality loot across the board. Here's the thing though, this loot farm will almost always have high quality loot guaranteed. In fact, just because I wanted to, I decided to keep track of how much the value of my loot hauls were when doing this run. And I gotta tell you, the times where I wasn't interrupted by a dude trying to kill me or other players in the area doing the same loot farm, the value of how much loot I was able to pull really wasn't that different between a regular run and a night run. And yeah, one of my most profitable runs was during a night raid, but the biggest factors that determine how much loot you're gonna pull from doing this farm are how late you're gonna spawn into the game and how far will you spawn from assembly. What I'm trying to tell you is if you want to do it during a night raid to up the chance of getting better loot ever so slightly, then go ahead. But I promise you that if you do this a few times on normal, you're gonna figure out real quick that you're gonna be getting around the same amount of loot no matter what. Not to mention, a big downside of running this farm on a night raid is you won't be able to use a Raider hatch key. There happens to be a Raider hatch right in the assembly area, so after running your looting route, you can just run a few feet over, open the hatch, and get out. If you're doing a night raid though, you need to run all the way over to the loading bay area, climb down to the metro, and then call and wait for an extract. TLDR, the regular version of the farm is actually way faster than the night raid version if you have a hatch key, which you should. And because the farm is getting relatively popular lately, you might bump into other angry raiders who are mad that you got there first, and they're gonna start shooting you. But if you got a hatch key, you can get out of those situations way easier. So again, again, I recommend running the farm on regular and not doing it during a night raid. Moving on, if you've either entered the match way too late or you're across the map and you're pretty confident that assembly will be looted by the time you get there, is there another farm you can do? Kinda, yeah. The entire medical research area is a solid backup. I usually find a bunch of blueprints and high value items there on the regular. But it's also got a bunch of shredders and players looking for PvP action, which not always ideal. Most people would probably agree that the more consistent option is to farm the bastion that will always spawn on the first floor of the loading bay area. For whatever reason, I find that most times when someone starts attacking the bastion, nearby players decide to join in and help, probably because that bastion is loud as hell and everybody hates it. And by the way, even if you destroy the bastion and there's a bunch of people looting it together, you're still going to get a fair amount of loot off the dead bastion. And very important to remember, the bastion will drop advanced arc power cells. Now you can sell those back at Speranza, but the way better thing to do is to hold onto them and use them to craft energy clips, which only require an advanced power cell and 2 batteries. Considering batteries aren't hard to find at all, it's really easy to craft and sell a bunch of energy clip ammo, which again, you will get way more money for than if you were to just sell the power cell directly. But yeah, there you go. If you've got a money farm that you like, let me know what it is down in the comment section or swing over to the Twitch channel and tell me there. Thanks very much for watching. Happy farming. Peace.